Will AI aid us in our spiritual pursuit? Yes or no? Is it a yes or no answer?
You don't actually need a large amount of external inputs or tools to develop spiritually. But can it be utilized to help you in your journey? The simple answer is yes.
I think a spiritualist's AI is not artificial intelligence, but it's authentic introspection. Our free will isn't in our action, our free will is where we take shelter and to which energy we surrender. You just got to stay lighthearted somehow, you know.
Got to crack a joke a
The
day.
serious stuff can stay serious, but the fun stuff should be fun, you know.
Before we jump into this episode, I'd love to invite you to join this candid spiritual community to hear more conversations that will help you become happier, healthier, and more healed. All I want you to do is click on that subscribe button because I love your support. I love seeing all the comments pouring through, all the love pouring through, and we're just getting started. I can't wait to go on this journey with you, whether you're a spiritual seeker or you're just curious about the topic. And we really hope that our conversations will provide you food for thought and inspiration for your own spiritual journey. So join us for honest, candid discussions about spirituality for soul's sake.
For soul's sake, for soul's sake.
Hello and welcome to another episode, a special episode, a roundtable episode of For Soul's Sake. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm here with my two mates, Kaylee Woods.
Woo!
And
Hello.
from two different
Gotta
worlds.
be your own hype man.
Yeah, we're here discussing all things spirituality and otherwise. What's new? Tell me something interesting about life.
I've just realised this whole podcast is a hoax.
What do you mean?
Well, table is not round.
Oh,
yeah. Totally fooling people out there.
You know?
Yeah, we should get a shot of the table. Actually, don't take a shot of the table. There's some interesting things on there.
You should call it the Square Table Podcast.
Square Table Podcast.
Start a new trend.
Or what shape are your glasses?
They are.
How many sides have they got?
They are round square.
Round square, yeah?
Round square.
That's the new thing.
They're going with
Listen
it.
up, kids. Round square. That's coming into fashion.
Okay, today we are talking about a verse from chapter 2, text number 31. 231, that is. Translation of this wonderful verse given to you by the Bhagavad Gita. Get a copy today. Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you have to define that, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation. What's this verse all about? Someone break it down for me. What are we talking about today? What's the topic? What's the theme?
What's the topical?
What's the topic?
So, this is a really interesting part of the Bhagavad Gita. So, for those who haven't read it before, I call it a therapy session on the battlefield of life. And Arjuna, Krishna, two best friends. Arjuna going for a crisis. He's a warrior, having a bit of a crisis. He's about to fight his family and friends, and he's like, nah, can't do this. You know, I'm about to slice up like my uncle. Just can't do that. Literally.
I shouldn't be laughing at that.
No, but that's the situation.
Arjuna was born and raised in Harrow, by the way.
Born in the depths of London. So then he's going for a bit of a crisis, and he's basically just becoming really weak as a result and kind of losing his composure. So then Krishna's now instructing him and essentially encouraging him, motivating him, has told him some science about the self and the absolute reality about life.
Krishna is a coach.
Yeah. World's best life coach.
He's a life coach. What a legend.
Do you know what's really interesting about Krishna the coach?
Go on.
They say a good coach knows you well enough to know how to instruct you to get to a particular goal.
Right.
The instruction will be the same for anyone else in that position, but the way a good coach phrases it to someone is based on their own psychophysical nature.
Okay, you got to give me an example.
So Krishna here is talking to Arjuna. Arjuna's naturally a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
He's a warrior class. He's gone through, the martial schools of being a soldier, the ethics, the morale back then.
AKA Kshatriya.
Yeah, Kshatriya is a Sanskrit word for the warrior class of people. And they live by certain codes of conduct. They have a lot of honor, integrity, and they fight. And on the battlefield, they know, I could lose it this time, but they're completely cool with that. So it's interesting the tone Krishna takes when he's guiding Arjuna. It's very much around, but you're a warrior. You've trained hard all your life. You know the ethics and the morale and the character of a kshatriya. So you should act according to that. And so here, Arjun's having the crisis. I can't kill. I can't fight. I'm a warrior. But Krishna's then correcting him, saying, well, hold on a second, mate. Like, you know what you need to be doing. You've trained in this. You're completely losing your identity here, and you're forgetting who you are. So utilize your skills, utilize the weapons and, you know, the war that may be. And back then, let me just make the caveat, wars and battles back then were controlled battles. They were agreed by both sides. There was no, you know, exploitation of the innocent people of the world.
Ethical battle.
Ethical battle. There was morale behind even violence. That's an interesting topic in itself. So here...
So that means that there is a time and a place for when violence is called upon.
Yeah, because it's a natural emotion.
It's a natural emotion.
Spiritual life is not about negating our emotions.
Not that that should justify our violent activities today, because we don't know the ethics behind them.
I mean, yeah, today's a bit of a...
Yeah, it's a bit of a hodgepodge, bit of a kitschy.
It's a disaster.
Bit of a kitschy, bit of a disaster.
But there's an essential component that hasn't arrived yet in the Bhagavad Gita, which is you are not the doer.
Yeah.
And so Krishna, this is like the most OG move, in my opinion.
Let's hear it.
And you don't hear about it in the Gita, but you hear about it in the complete text that the Gita's from, the Mahabharata, where at the end of the Battle of Kurukshetra, Arjuna steps off of the chariot and Krishna's still on the chariot. And Arjuna turns around and looks at Krishna, and it's only when Krishna steps off the chariot, the whole thing just disintegrates into dust. And Arjuna then realizes Krishna was holding this whole thing together the whole time. And so that's...
What an OG move.
OG move, right?
Yeah.
But that's the bit that's coming up later in the Gita, is there's no reason to be anxious about our position of acting in the world, because we are not the doers anyway. And thinking that we are doing, that's called Maya or illusion, or that which is not.
Do not fear, Krishna's here.
Yeah, I like that. That's some merch right there.
Can we get on that? Making some merch here. Let's make some monies.
Thinking that you're the cause behind everything, right? You're the cause of causes.
But when I first heard that, I was a little shaken because, I mean, relating this to AI, right?
Yeah.
You were saying about how Apple is now integrating ChatGPT with our messages. So we just write a simple sentence and then ChatGPT takes over. That's a perfect case of we're not the doer, right? So,
in a good way or a bad way?
Well, I think we have to be careful, because the human being has a natural propensity to surrender to something, right? And that's kind of the message of the Gita, is that our free will isn't in our action, our free will is where we take shelter and to which energy we surrender. Do we surrender to the material energy or the spiritual energy? And that will dictate that will dictate the consequences of our life, effectively.
AI and spirituality.
AI is the weapon of today.
Yeah.
I think
use it or forget it. It's a tough one, because, like, you know, how far do you go? How far do you go with the use? Will AI aid us in our spiritual pursuit? Yes or no? Is it a yes or no answer?
I think it's people were doing it before AI.
Tell me.
Right?
Give me an example.
So, like, we often say, like, I've got more facility now to be spiritual.
Yeah.
Right? But your spiritual elevation was never dependent on the facility that you had. Because inherently, spiritual life doesn't require external input from the world. You've got yogis in the Himalayas, like, who haven't got anything.
Right.
So they're not dependent on a tool to help them do it. So the conclusion for me is that you don't actually need, you know, a large amount of external inputs or tools to develop spiritually.
Yeah.
But can it be utilized to help you in your journey? The simple answer is yes.
I don't know, man.
But do you know what I'm scared of?
What?
And I think this is where you might be thinking,
Yeah.
and I get this notion is that, it's communities and people are so interesting because if they feel something helps them, that help over time, when spread in a large community, can be like, you must have this, and it really helps you. You have to have this. It's crucial for your life. It's like, nah, mate, it was just an aid, and now it's become like this must-have.
And using it is going to get people ahead in so many ways in terms of expansion and efficiency and even monetizing things. It's going to help with all of that, but at what cost? And I think that's where things are going to get interesting for me, is that at what level is the trade-off there? Because, okay, let me be straight with you, yeah? I don't know any sadhu who is employing all the technology of the world and still remaining, quote unquote, completely pure. Like, I get the principle of achintya bheda tattva, using, i.e. using everything in the service of God. But I think at a certain point, like I know for a fact, at a certain point in my life, I got to cut off from all this stuff. I got to just pack it in a box and say, that's for the young'uns. And right now, what I need is to dedicate my life without, all of these distractions. Am I crazy in thinking that?
So I think this verse gears towards like an answer to this, because
Okay, tell me.
Krishna's telling Arjuna to go off and fight and don't hesitate, right? And what's the second line there? Something about,
You should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation.
yeah. So i.e. doing it for a spiritual cause, doing it for it's genuinely, that's the interesting one. Are you doing something which is genuinely for your own spiritual development? Or is it a little bit for, like, just playing around with these are external matters, these distractions of the world that are provided to us? I think that's like how honest we are determines how caught we get in the net. What do you think, Kelly?
Yeah, I'm just thinking that I think a spiritualist's AI is not artificial intelligence, but it's authentic introspection.
You dropped a bomb.
Boom.
You're going to have to repeat that one.
I think, AI, this is how I would reframe it. Authentic introspection. That's the real technology of the spiritualist. Is effectively we are tapping into spiritual technology when we introspect, when we take the journey within. Because that's also where Krishna is. That's where Param Atma is, the great soul. And contained within this great soul is Sat Chit Ananda, is all of the knowledge for eternity, all of the bliss for eternity is already within us. So if we live an external life and we perhaps rely too heavily on external impetus and technology, we may miss out on what's inherently ours already, which can really only be found through introspection and through this inner journey. Not to say that yukta vairagya, or dovetailing something that is perhaps not obviously spiritual is wrong, but if you really want to get to the juice, then you do have to put the phone down and close the eyes and take some deep breaths and spend some time here,
Yeah, it's very honorable. Like, I'm not dismissing the application and the usage of technology. I'm not dismissing it. I completely get that. I think what I'm worried about is that it's just another weapon of mass distraction. It's just gonna put another veil over, and it's honorable. When you see spiritualists, bhakti yogis, devotees using technology to really expand the message of spirituality, broadcast things far and wide. It's something that I'm trying to do myself. I get the value, and I see the how to say, the impact that makes. And I use AI in a lot of the things that I do. It's not that I'm anti-AI. I just think that at what point will it get to where it's like, hey, ChatGPT, or hey, Siri, tell me the origins of the soul, or, tell me who I am. And we're relying on that to...
I found this on the web for tell me the origins of the soul.
There you go. It's part of the podcast.
I don't know if that got caught. Hey, Siri, tell me about the origins of the soul. It just says, here's what I found.
You shut up now.
Yeah, now you're being quiet, aren't you? Now you're being recorded. But the point is that it's just...
I think what you're getting at is the slippery slope.
The slippery slope.
Is detaching from the idea that AI is a means to an end. It's not an end in itself.
Slippy.
It's very slippy.
We're not cautious enough.
Sloppy.
We're not cautious enough about the dangers.
Sorry, I'm just being silly.
It is a slippery slope there.
Yeah.
Slip away like the wind.
Go on now, try and bring us back on track after that.
It's all these spontaneous bursts, like by radical.
My guy just said slippy sloppy, and now you're meant to say something deep after that.
All I can think of in mind is slippery slope and sloppy.
But do you know what I mean? Like, if we misunderstand that AI is an end in itself, rather like japa can be a means to an end, kirtan can be a means to an end, studying scripture is a means to an end, AI could be a means to an end, but none of those things in themselves are a relationship with God. They're all there to facilitate that, right?
There's a really interesting, so this whole concept of dovetailing, we see it a lot in the Bhakti traditions.
The cameraman.
Come on, Radical, bring it together.
The cameraman's gone, I'm gone too. What was it? Slippery.
Slopper.
It's just this time of day.
Yeah, we're recording this late at night. Well, somewhat late at night.
Delirious.
Yeah.
But this point I was saying, like, so this whole concept of dovetailing, right? Especially seen in the Bhakti traditions a lot because of one particular verse. That verse is all about laughter. And it's about these slopes that we take in our life. And
You're giving me permission. All right.
I apologise for starting this.
Yeah.
I was the one that said slippery slope.
Well, I was the one that made it slippery.
Radika's just uncontrollable, man.
What to do? I like having a bit of fun. Spirituality without any sort of fun is not real spirituality. It's got to be joyful.
It's actually impossible.
Yeah.
In my experience, it's impossible to do spiritual life without a sense of humour.
Yeah.
That's I get monks message me from my old monk days, and they're still doing the monk thing, and they're like, "How do I sort of like keep going in this?" Or they ask me, "How did you like last so long?"
Words, have fun.
Yeah, and my reply every time is like, "You just got to stay lighthearted somehow, you know."
Got to crack a joke a
The
day.
serious stuff can stay serious, but the fun stuff should be fun. You know?
Yeah.
I always find it fun looking back at life, and if you look at like bits where you were really serious and you went for a bit of a model, sometimes you just got to laugh at the situation. Think, oh my god, that was
I am
jokes.
fallible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just I'm a bit of a joke, to be honest. It's fun.
yeah. I think AI can be fun.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have to take it too seriously.
I mean, I saw someone like draw pictures of like, or ask ChatGPT to draw them Krishna pictures. I thought that was quite cool. Although it did make Krishna have like 4 eyes and
Right.
looked a bit alien-like.
I've seen
it
them.
up.
They make like proper roided Krishna.
Roided.
Yeah.
That is true. I've seen that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know where we were.
I was saying, should I crack on?
Yeah, let's crack on.
So the whole concept of dovetailing in bhakti, it comes from a particular verse by a saint called Rupa Goswami, and he basically says that you can utilize things at your disposal for your spiritual progression and sharing spirituality with others, But what a lot of people don't do is read the second half of this particular text. And it says that in order to do that properly, one has to actually start by being detached from those things in the first place. Then one can fully utilize those things for a spiritual purpose and progress. The modern person is we're not detached. We're kind of like, I really like this phone, so I kind of want to use it. I'm really into AI. I want to use that. I like that situation. I want to use that. And we kind of cover it and saying this is like truly for my spiritual life. When
doing it for the service.
Yeah.
Prabhu.
But actually it's just for our own self-aggrandizement.
There's that saying, the person who wants for nothing attracts everything.
You have to repeat that again.
The person who wants for nothing attracts everything. It's like that idea of the person who wants everything, rather than manifesting everything, they're just reaffirming that they don't have it yet.
Yeah.
Whereas if you live from genuine detachment, then many blessings are bestowed. There's this guy in London called Parashuram who runs this,
he's a legend.
He runs this food program. He travels all over the world into war zones. Like, he doesn't care. He just like feeds so many people, and he's like a spiritual rock star.
He plays the ukulele as well.
Plays the ukulele. He's just like, once he took me on his Viking boat down the Thames, and we were like doing kirtan past the like Thames police and stuff, and past Parliament. He's a rock star. But he has nailed this thing of like, he doesn't take anything for himself. He just lets it like flow through him. So people are like, hey, here's like a central London 4-story building where the rent's like £300,000 a month. Use it for whatever you want. Here's a massive donation. Here's loads of volunteers, whatever. And he's just like, great, I can, I can use all this. He doesn't cling on to it for himself. He's just like, no, I can use all of this.
Yeah. It's a practice. We have to practice detachment. It's not something that will just fall from the sky. Start with the small things and start with things that are practically detachable from, like, I don't know, maybe it's being detached from eating chips every week or something. Start with like something that you can detach from that's practical and maybe, here's an obvious one, chocolate. I like chocolate. You like chocolate?
Love.
What's your favourite chocolate? Do you eat chocolate?
Yeah, less so these days.
I was thinking that. You're not much of a chocolate boy.
I used to be a proper Cadbury's muncher. But what was that weird chocolate you brought in that was like some weird
durian fruit chocolate from Malaysia.
Yeah, that ruined my day, that did.
Yeah, that's a stinker.
Yeah, I think I've been eating less chocolate since you gave me that thing.
Just helping you become detached.
Yeah, thanks for that, mate. Yeah. I've never looked at a fruit and nut bar the same since that.
You want my chocolate?
Yeah.
Oh, bro. So I used to be a Galaxy Caramel kind of guy. Galaxy Caramel.
Straight up sin.
Macaroni.
Slippery, sloppery, that is.
But recently I've been going to Switzerland.
Oh.
I don't know how we're going to get through this.
We can do it together.
It's like the Daniel Bedingfield song. I got to get through this.
Yeah, go on then.
Yeah. You know what I'm thinking about?
What are you thinking
You know
about?
Charlie in the Chocolate Factory?
Yeah.
Isn't there like a slide of chocolate in there or something?
Yeah.
Slippery slope, yeah.
Anyway, I was going to say, you know what I'm thinking? Oompa Loompas.
What's happening today, man?
What are you thinking?
What am I thinking? I was just thinking about how Oompa Loompas actually were like fantastic devotees and they really served Willy Wonka well. Do you know what I mean? They were so selfless.
What's the song? Oompa
Loompa, stick it up your jumper.
Man, it's a late one today. That's what happens when we do podcasts this late.
I know.
So, we've got 23 minutes on the clock.
You know what? As a lesson from this podcast, I think it's really nice. The world's getting super serious about AI and technology and politics, but I think we've just displayed it. Like, you just gotta laugh at the situation sometimes.
Yeah.
Can't get too mental about it, otherwise you're just gonna end up totally in your head.
Yeah.
Do you know what I've stopped doing? I've stopped watching the news,
Nice.
which was quite a something I felt guilty about at first.
How long has it been? What was
It's
the
been
last-
it's been a good year. I remember during COVID, I fully fell into the trap of like
every day.
another person's dead, or
Yeah.
like watching the statistics. and,
I
like,
mean, that's different. That's a really unique case.
sure, but it conditioned me then to like I built a habit around like going BBC News and what's going on today,
Yeah.
and I realized how it was affecting my consciousness, and that almost like the more I was engaging in it, the more I was making it real in the world, the more I was like perpetuating that it was something of substance in the world. And that's not to say that like atrocious things aren't happening, but we have our circle of influence and we have our circle of concern, and so often we live in our circle of concern without actually affecting the world in any way. Whereas thinking, actually, let's just bring it back a little bit, like what can I do that's positive in
Yeah.
this
That's how.
this field that I'm given,
Yeah, not taking it too seriously. That's one thing for sure. Like Kadamba Swami, who's one of my teachers, who he passed a year ago. He said this at a class. I think it was right at the end of the class. He was just kind of rounded off by saying, "Let's keep the serious things serious, and let the other things be fun."
Yeah.
And that's kind of stuck with me, that we sometimes are a little bit too serious about things. And I guess you can be serious about anything. Everyone can have a cause or have a particular thing that they're passionate about. I think with AI, I think it's something to be cautious of. And at the same time, if you're going to engage with it, try to use it for higher purpose, as with everything that's in the world. So let us know what you think about that.
We're never actually going to be out of problems like AI.
Yeah.
It's not just one thing that we're like, oh my God, we've got to deal with. It's more things will come. And I think for me, it's one monk always told me this really good analogy. He said, our mind is like a painting. And
Our mind is like a painting.
it's like a painting. And we have so many things in the background. But if you have nothing in the foreground, all you will focus on is the background. So when you keep the divine, Krishna, in the foreground, the background blurs out. And it's always important to keep that focus in the foreground of our life. And the background's going to change. Sun sets, sun rises. It'll be stormy. There'll be, a windstorm. But if we have that focal point, then all of these things, whether we use it or not, it's indifferent.
That's up to you,
Yeah. It's indifferent.
On that note, thank you all so much for watching. Give us some thoughts. What do you guys think of what we've spoken? The motto of this one is definitely going to be slippery, sloppery. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was entertaining. I hope it was informative. I hope it was something that's going to give you food for thought about what you use AI for and how you engage with that technology and technology in general, and the resources of this world in general too. Like, how are you engaging with that? What are you using it for? Can you use it in service to purify that? Give us some thoughts below in the comments. Share this with a friend, share it with a dog, share it with a cat, share it with a neighbor, share it with Willy Wonka and his Oompa Loompas, wherever you want to share this. But thank you so much for being part of this conversation. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Peace out. If you love this episode, you'll love my interview with Keshava Swami on serving others and how our life gets ironed out in the process. Go check it out.
When I have managed to find that selflessness, that sense of it's really not about me, but I'm really here as a servant to give, then I found two things happen. The first thing is that our ability to actually really serve others just expands exponentially.